This is PNE Pod, the official podcast of the one and only Preston North End Football Club. My name's Niall McCorn.
And I'm Neil Mellor. We will be talking to some famous Preston North End former players, some famous fans, some current first team players, and a few former teammates of mine.
The best way to keep in touch with the podcast is to hit subscribe or follow wherever you listen to your shows. That way, as soon as a new episode is released, you won't miss it. And today, Mels, we've got a proper North End legend.
Absolutely. Captain, scored a famous goal, lifted trophy for Preston North End, and a player which many North End fans will remember.
In terms of modern North End icons, he's got to be up there, isn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah, he contributed so much during a successful period for Preston North End, and you'll be made up to hear some of the stories he's got to tell us.
Hundreds of games, some massive goals, and a former captain. Here's Tom Clarke.
Touched on certain games that you played in. What about competitions? What about the FA Cup? What did the FA Cup mean to you from your time in your career and for PNE?
Yeah, it meant, growing up as a youngster, the FA Cup were massive, and I've been, lucky enough to play in some big FA Cup games. Chelsea twice, Arsenal, Man United at Preston as well. So yeah,
took the lead in that game. Yeah,
we did. Yeah, great night. So being involved in some big games, and that's what it's about, for the fans to come out and experience, these world-class players coming here. And
who was playing for United?
Yeah, I was going to say, who did you play against you thought more?
Yeah,
Rooney?
Rooney was there, he was captain, so we sort of went in together, did the referee stuff. I saw Nicky grab your shirt at the end. He said,
before the game, you're asking him for his shirt?
Yeah. He said, yeah, no worries. I said, he won't remember. Everyone's running to him. But yeah, managed to get it. It's still in a drawer because don't go with furniture and stuff at house. So
because of the badge, on it.
Yeah. So Fellaini, try to look through his hair to get to the ball. And Di Maria, they played a strong team, which just shows the respect that they had for us, and took them all the way. Really, unfortunately, we couldn't. But again, them atmospheres, your Blackpools, when the fans do come out and make some noise, it's some place to be.
Do you ever felt like you could have tested yourself at that level, like Premier League level, against the best?
Yes, listen, it was. I was unfortunate with injuries for me. Obviously, coming through, I made my debut young. I was playing for England under 19s, and then I got a serious knee injury. Sort of did everything in it. Halted me for about a year, and then just sort of tried to ease my way back in. Did my other knee. So yeah, that halted me again for a year, and it just felt like that a little bit at Huddersfield. And then I had a good 7 years where I played a lot of football at Preston, and then I got hit with an Achilles injury. So yeah, of all the injuries that you can have, I probably had the three up there with the worst. So yeah, I think that goes down to sort of my mentality. I didn't want to be one of them that be down pub and could have done it, but I had this. So I always sort of tried to work as hard as I can, and the setbacks that I had definitely shaped me and moulded me into the character I was.
Transfers are always a big talking point, aren't they? And you've gone from Huddersfield to Preston. Any clubs sort of that have come in for you that you've turned down, maybe to go sign for PNE?
No, not that I can think back of. Listen, there were a few rumours and stuff like that, but never anything concrete. I think Sheff Wednesday were one that were pretty close, but I think there were two or three that they were interested in. But it took a lot to sort of leave. Like I say, I loved my time there. I was playing, I was captain. And I wish I could have stayed there my whole career. It didn't work out like that, but yeah, it took a lot for that to happen.
What about PNE though? Because obviously you were flying, doing really well. Was the club sort of sniffing about, trying to take you away at that time, or not?
From Preston,
yeah.
Like I say, I think there was just one, Sheffield, but other than that, no. Like I say, it'd have been a tough decision to make. Everything that was happening at Preston, I enjoyed, and I was doing well. I was playing well, and I was sort of comfortable in that environment.
How do you reflect on leaving then? So you left after 7 years in 2020, and obviously we're in the middle of COVID at this point. No fans in stadiums. The season's basically halted for 3 months or whatever it was, and then it comes to the summer and it's time to say goodbye. So that must have felt a bit strange, not really being able to have that goodbye with the fans. It was difficult, really difficult. It was a strange time, obviously, for everyone. COVID hit. Championship football went back and played. So we went back for sort of a mini pre-season, did that.
the sort of club and my agent was sort of speaking, but then sort of talks went a little bit quiet, and it was a case of sitting down with Alex Neil and sort of seeing where we was at. And I sort of had to think about long term, really. You know, I had a lot of injuries that I just spoke about, and it was a case of trying to prolong my career, and with Preston sort of umming and ahhing whether to do anything, you know, having to go out there and maybe, you know, spoke about the injuries that I've had, something to happen, and Preston not offer me out and not being able to go anywhere else. It was a very difficult period of time. You know, I sat down with my family, just tried to make the best decision for us. We had a young family, and the best thing for me to prolong my career, really. And that was the sort of decision that I made. You
got loads of messages though, didn't you? When it came out that you were going to leave Deepdale, the amount of messages, texts you must have got. Even, I think some people even wrote letters to the club to say, thanks for your service. That must have been quite emotional for you. Yeah,
ridiculous. Like I say, the fans have been absolutely brilliant with me. I can't thank them enough. You know, best period of my time's been there. My kids sort of growing up and seeing me play there. So it weren't an easy decision. Sat in the room a lot thinking and debating what to do, because it weren't a case of me holding out for a better club to come in. It was a case of, can I prolong my career for an extra 3 years, which I did, knowing that my knee wasn't great. And that was the sort of decision I wanted to go down. I didn't want to be at Preston and outstay my welcome and be someone that's, you know, not playing. And I just didn't want it to end like that.
When you have gone back to Deepdale as a non-Preston player, what's it been like?
Yeah, just ridiculous. Like, the fans have been brilliant. Like I say, the welcome that they gave me. Ben Rhodes, while I was at Fleetwood, sort of rang me and sort of said, you know, obviously it happened during COVID. We'd love to get you back and get a real send-off, which he did against Liverpool, which were brilliant. I was able to bring my little girl on the pitch and my wife, and sort of got a real send-off, which I'm very thankful for Ben to do and the club to do. I got to say sort of bye and thank you.
You played for Salford and for Fleetwood and for Halifax after you left Preston, but in September you got told on medical advice that it was probably time to stop playing. Did you kind of know that day was coming, and what did the surgeon say to you in layman's terms, basically, that the career's over?
Yeah, it was a case. Obviously, I signed for Halifax. Obviously, I was getting injections, you know, Jacko. I was getting injections left, right and centre at
Living
Preston.
on anti-inflams.
Yeah. So, and I weren't in a great shape when I was playing every week. It was just a case of it caught up to me at that point at Halifax. And obviously, no disrespect to Halifax, the facilities aren't what they are elsewhere, like you say, at Preston and stuff. So to get the aftercare and stuff is difficult. It just happened in a game. Felt a bit of a click in my knee. That click's not gone ever since. So I went to see a surgeon, and sort of where it is, the cartilage is obviously none there, but the last little bit is just clicking out of the joint and popping back in. So it was a case of, do you want surgery and sort of be out a year, or you're 35 and you've played sort of 500 odd games, you just want to call it a day and be able to sort of walk and play with your kids. So sort of took that decision with him sort of pushing me towards it. It's a difficult day, but sort of knew it was always going to happen at some point.
How many surgeries did you end up having?
On that knee, probably about 3, 4. A lot of clean outs and stuff, but and that was sort of, now it was, you play a game and you sort of knee would swell up double.
I had 90 mil drained off a knee before a game once.
I thought you were going to say you had 90 surgeries. I said, you had a lot of injuries, but that's ridiculous.
No, but we're talking about injuries, and obviously it affects a lot of players, but the similar sort of area that was suffered in the knee. But I remember getting 90 mil drained. My knee, I couldn't even bend my knee 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Docs took 90 mil out and he's gone, you can still play. And I'm like, I can barely walk.
Yeah. But how hard is that?
That's the reality.
Well, you've both experienced that. How difficult is that then to mentally get over that, especially if it's not the first time you've done your knee and you know it's again, or for instance, you heard a noise then.
Yeah.
How difficult is that to go, this might be it, or I need to make sure I stay positive because I've still got games left at me?
What's difficult is no one knows you're injured. No. So you're there, why is he not playing well? Right. And some of your teammates aren't even aware of it. You're thinking, mentally, you're thinking, I'm struggling there. But everyone's judging you as if you like everything's okay. And a lot of players are struggling through these games, and you've experienced that as well. And it is really tough mentally to be able to think, I'm better than this. My body's letting me down, but I am better than this. And that's a big frustration that obviously you must have experienced as well. Yeah,
and sort of towards the end, like I said, I'd done my Achilles, and I was at Preston, I was the captain, I was the leader. And for me, a leader is you're out there every week, you play, and I weren't able to do that. So mentally, that really frustrated me. And then sort of towards the end at Halifax and stuff like that, and I'm like you said, I'm better than this. Why aren't I able to do the things I was doing? And it was just down to not being able to physically and to mentally do that week in, week out. It's very difficult, because then for me anyway, personally, you do take that home, and it does affect your family, and you are frustrated, and your moods are constantly up and down, and your knees swollen, so you're down. And it took a real toll probably on everyone. So to get out of that was a relief. To get out of that mind frame definitely was a relief.
Neil Mellor scored. Preston take the lead, and that's exactly what it means to Neil Mellor to score in the West Lancashire derby.